Hey, how are you guys? So I had to jump over to the app. Hopefully that this is coming in crystal clear. Angelic Spirit, I grew up in the area, sweetie. You're like right where I grew up. That's fucking cool. I haven't seen anybody post a location like literally where I grew up. Oh, son of a bitch. Hi! The other, you, whoever it was that is from Mount Clemens, Michigan, I'm from the area. I lived there my whole life. I used to party in the Clem. Hi guys, how are you? Sorry, I had to jump over to the app because Google Hangouts wasn't, it's probably better that way anyway. So Google Hangouts wasn't really working. So this is going to be really casual. And I'm calling these courses, they're not like super serious, they're collaborative. So there's going to be a lot of Q&A. So I'm going to go through some basic shit and it's not going to take us much time at all. Well, the retrograde's fine. I'm actually okay with being on the app. So we're going to try this out. Yes, Google Hangouts. I don't know why hello, YouTube. You guys need to fix that shit. The encoders are a pain in the ass. This is why I was using Google Hangouts. And then now I'm just going to have to go with the app. So we're good. Hello. This retrograde in Aries is for everybody. Absolutely everybody. So I saw someone's comment about the true difference between psychic and psycho, and being psycho is being close to your period and needing chocolate. Chocolate's probably not strong enough. Seriously. Yeah, Hangouts reception is shit. Anyway, it's a good comment though. I like the comment. Thank you for leaving that. So I have my list. You see my list? I got a lot of shit I wrote down. Notice, this is not digital. Did you guys see my haul on Instagram and stuff? I took a picture of all the shit that I bought just to avoid a fucking meltdown with the retrograde. I'm just saying. So, I got a lot of notes and I hand wrote every one of those bitches. The thing is I didn't really, oh my God, psychic psycho. Yeah, that's me. Hi. You seem to like me though, so that's good. So the thing is about being psychic, let me just give you a quick rundown. When you're a natural intuitive, you don't go to school to learn how to be psychic. And yes, there are schools that teach people how to be psychic. I'm not teaching you how to be psychic. If you're psychic, right? If you have intuition, which I believe every single one of us has it doesn't mean we all listen to it. So the point of us coming together tonight is to talk about what the fuck to do with what you already have, if that makes sense, right? So it's more about honing in on what you already have. It's about paying attention to the shit around you, you know? For me, when the first thing I get when I hear psychic is foretelling the future, right? I have no idea why I'm upside down. I'm fine. You're gonna have to switch your phone or something. Anyway, you know, the word psychic really is coming from psychological, okay? And the reason why, it's because all the information comes through and is interpreted in our brain. And so the problem is we still have a middleman no matter what, okay? There are people who don't believe in the other side. There are people who don't believe in God. I'm married to an atheist, you know what I'm saying? But they still have intuition, those people, right? I'll come back and start reading questions in a little bit. So I want to get through like these basic things. And so, yes, I am a proud psychic psycho. Being psychic will make you fucking psycho though. So we're going to talk about that too. But basically, the word, oh, this is going to be fun. We are going to have a fun night of what the fuck. I have great internet here, by the way, so I have no idea. Other than maybe the normal connection. So let me go back real quick. I've got an hour to fill and we're going to cover quite a bit. So the whole idea of the word psychic kind of sucks. The word intuitive, I'm afraid kind of takes psychic abilities and like squashes it a little bit. So when people say, well, I'm just intuitive, no, that's bullshit. You're not just intuitive. There's no just in front of something that's extraordinary. I don't want to say that psychics aren't special because we are, but I don't want to downplay the person that isn't going to be meant to be a professional psychic, right? But I don't want you guys downplaying abilities. Like, you know, you could be this amazing soccer player and you should never downplay your talents, right? So when people say, well, I'm intuitive, well, yeah, I think we all are intuitive, but if your senses are way up here compared to other people, then you're not just intuitive. So the word just in front of anything is ridiculous, right? We want to get rid of that. Hopefully you guys can, there you are. Just like looking at everybody disappearing and coming back. It's kind of funny. So the thing is that if you don't like the word psychic because of the connotation and how other people react, then I would say let's reassess who you think you are, because if you can get visuals, if you can feel things, if you can just know things, or you think you hear things and then all of it happens, you're fucking psychic. So let's be okay with being fucking psychic. Let's start that, right? I don't like the word intuitive because it's like minor when we all can take that knowing that we're talking about right now and just expand on that. Now, obviously, there are titles for different abilities. We can go over that briefly, right? You just know things. You could be empathic. You can also be clairaudient, and the knowing, these things you just know, could actually be things you're hearing and you don't even realize it. So there's a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Oh, yes. The reason why I use the word intuitive pathways is because I'm trying to actually target an expanded audience, but that's separate than I call myself a psychic. So if you notice, like my title says intuitive pathways. On the other channel, psychic and tarot reader. Intuitive Pathways is my company, and it's a broad, there's like a huge umbrella, and there's gonna be a lot of shit under that umbrella. So that's why I did not just go with a company that has psychic or tarot in the name, because business wise it's not actually gonna work out for me that way. So just keep that in mind, right? But I'm saying when someone says I'm just intuitive, I feel like they're squashing their abilities. So I'd rather see everybody just embrace it. Now, you don't have to call yourself a psychic or anything like that, but I kind of feel like as long as your confidence is where it should be, I guess it's fine. I'm just letting you guys know, right? Okay, so the difference between being psychic and psycho, there's a lot of lines. We're probably gonna blur them all at some point. The problem with getting information in any way, shape, or form, whether it's just being an empath, which is like sucking in energy like a fucking sponge and like letting it sit there till it molds, yes, that's what we do. And being a psychotic freak of nature is what happens after the information comes to you. So let me give you an example. If my husband, the atheist, were to be getting constant downloads from the universe and in getting that information, he might actually go fucking crazy because he doesn't know how to interpret it. He doesn't know what the fuck it is. If stuff starts happening, like he wouldn't know what to do. You know what I mean? So you could actually get a lot of information psychically, not know what to do with it, not know how to ground yourself, not know how to interpret, and then like lose your mind. But for fun, the reason why I brought that up is that some people get true, worries or anxiety about it. I'm reading my notes, by the way. I don't forget to say these things because I can go on and not talk about everything. But the whole idea of psycho is up to interpretation. You will personally think you're going crazy. So the reason why I wanted to say, hey, there's psychic and then there's psycho. People don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in the information they get. So that is actually, what do you do once you know that you're getting an intuitive hit or a psychic hit? Psychic to me is about the future. Intuitive is about now. So if you want to separate the two words, right? Intuitive kind of expands your horizon. Psychic is like forward motion for me, right? And I say that because that's what people interpret it as. So my thing is this: if you believe it, you can internally believe the information you're getting, intuitively, psychically. You will not have emotions reacting to that. Listen to me carefully. Number one, very important. If it's psychic, you will not have any emotions. Happy, sad, angry, excited. No ego will come in. If you're taking notes, write this down. Number one, it's only psychic if there are no emotions. If there are emotions, that's ego, wishful thinking, or negative thinking, right? Here's the example. Oh my God, something bad's gonna happen, okay? Or motherfucking tower's coming in. There's a difference between, oh my God, something bad's gonna happen, or there's that fucking tower. You'll know that it's just the fucking tower versus having a panic attack about the fact that the tower is like right in front of your face and you know it's gonna, lightning's gonna strike any moment. If you're looking at another human being, like your brother or your sister, for example, or some stranger, and you can see like weird shit around them, like if you're able to clairvoyantly visualize their aura and it looks like hell, you know what I mean? And we can talk about that some other time. That's another show. That's a whole other discussion. But the idea that you're reacting to it means that it's fear-based. So you may be misinterpreting it, actually some information you're getting, and you panic. That actually isn't going to come to fruition. It means that you're psycho. Does that help? And that's okay. You can still get intuitive information or psychic information. I'm going to use both words interchangeably, right? You're going to get that information, but you're not going to have to do anything about it when you just know, like this. It's an instantaneous thing. And then you don't have to, panic or freak out. When you just know, there's going to be comfort there. It's going to be calm for you. It's not necessarily a positive or a negative thing. Like you could get negative news for people. For example, me, right? I do it all the time. And I just know that it's real, or I'll be able to see someone's fear and be able to say, hey, So if you're empathic, which I believe that is the foundation, that's my opinion. Now, keep in mind, other people will have other opinions, but being an empath is everybody. Everybody has the ability to soak up other people's energy. So when you go to the mall and you've been there 3 hours and you come home, you're like, I'm fucking toast. I need to sleep. That is because that sponge has soaked in like 30 people, 40 people, 100 people, that you've soaked up their energy, and just by being in their presence, right? And so you will be able to sink into your own space and cleanse your space just by sleeping. Some people can do that. That's for everybody. You don't have to have any kind of a belief system about this. It's empathic. That's how it is. So as a fun thing for my clients, when people are like, how do you deal with this? I tell people to creatively visualize replacing a fucking sponge, or douche it out, you know what I'm saying? Like you need to mentally replace your energy field. You can't see energy or touch it physically, you know what I mean? And so you need to be able to control it with your mind. And I do believe, because everything comes in through our mind and it is up to interpretation, and then we have other aspects of our bodies that react to that information, like your ego, for example, is still part of the psyche. I feel like you can control all of that. And so that's going to be another conversation that we have. But I'm basically talking today about just the word intuition / psychic, right? Intuition is information. It's the same thing. The only difference is that it's not fact written in a book unless you're writing it. It's information that comes to you from this source that we cannot fucking prove exists. This is why we have many different religious belief systems and all these things, and we have atheists and we have all this stuff. So now, if you are one of those people who cannot fucking explain how they just knew that your girlfriend, I don't know, Jane, was going to walk down the street, trip and fall and break her fucking knee, like you're saying to her in slow-mo, watch out, like not even, 20 seconds before she takes the dive. Like, you can't control the outcome, but you could see it happening before it happens. That's clairvoyance. It's also empathic energies, because you are next to her and you know she's going to take a nosedive. You see what I mean? Trusting that you know she's going to take the fucking nosedive is the first step to expanding your abilities and to strengthening yourself. You do not need to go into meditation to do this. So that's kind of a misconception. Write this down. This is like, step 2, even though I don't have anything listed here. I just have a bunch of shit on a piece of paper. You do not need to go into meditation to strengthen your abilities. I believe you can go into meditation to clear your energy, to communicate with your spirit guides or angel guides, who are, however you want to connect. I also believe you can connect with the other side if you are, mediumistically inclined, meaning that you are a conduit in between worlds. I have that ability. I did shut it down in terms of trying to do readings because it's awful. Like, I cannot tell you, I'm so glad that I'm not a John Edward or whatever his name is. James Van Praagh, my favorite. I would fucking die. Like, I did it for probably 6 years without even trying, and it was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So I personally cannot do those and survive, like, energy wise, because I love James. He's the fucking bomb, man. Anyway, he's probably the most genuine medium I've ever seen. I don't care that he's been around for like 30 years. Nobody else has come close to that motherfucker. He's the best. He really is the best. Anyway, so that's just an opinion. Not everybody's gonna like it. His book, his first book he ever wrote, and actually, it moved me, and it shows how awful being a psychic medium is. Like, it's really, really tough. So I understand like why people are like freaking out about this stuff, because when you get intuitive hits and you don't know what to do with it, and we're going to talk about that tonight because it's important, you will panic and you will turn into a fucking psycho over time. Oh, if you're with a religious family, they're going to... Sylvia Brown, she's an interesting character. She was an interesting character. I actually understand her more now than I did when I first started doing readings. I always thought, why is she such a bitch? And I'm like, dude, I get it now. People. James Van Praagh. I'll put him, he's special. We got to put him in the description box. Anywho, people make people cold, and she ended up being like really, really, really cold. Anyway, I love her though. I thought she was very unique and special and huge trailblazer, and she took so much shit. And she was one tough bitch. I loved her. I really did love her. Anyway, so let's go back real quickly to something important. We've got like the top intuitive hits. So before we get into like all the deep energies that surround your intuitive hits, let's talk about where you get them, okay? So if you guys are here, a lot of you are probably wondering, well, is this intuitive or is this something that's not real, right? Oh, I want to talk about deja vu. Thank you. I forgot to fucking put it down. Thank you for listing the name. Okay. So my top places after many, many years of doing all of this stuff and talking to a lot of other psychics and mediums and intuitives, and I air quoted that because I'm like, you're just psychic, just say it. The toilet, number one place where you're gonna get some information. Don't ask me why the fuck. The toilet is number one, but when you're sitting there, not focused on life, boom, hits come. I'm just saying, admit it, you're on the throne and you're getting all these thoughts, and then the next thing you know, that shit comes true. Literally, the shit is hitting the fan and you saw it happening on the throne. That is it, number one, okay? Number one place. Number two is the shower. The shower, I got a story about this. So I had a friend, I'm picking a crystal right now, amethyst, because I can already feel like I need to reground. The shower. Number 2, I was in the shower at an apartment one time back in my 20s. I must have been 24, 25. And this friend of mine lived in the building around the corner, and I got real dizzy, physically dizzy, and I slipped and fell, and I caught myself in the shower, and I swear to God, I thought I was gonna die. I thought that was it. You're gonna die right now in the fucking shower. So like 2 hours later, I go hang out with my girl, and she had a nasty hangover and fell in the fucking shower roughly within the same time frame as me. Now, I'm not 100% sure if it was exactly the same time, but I'm telling you, it was within the hour, okay? That's some fucked up shit right there. And I'll never forget it. I'll never forget how I felt. I can't remember my age, but I was in my early 20s. And when you are literally feeling this, yes, empathic abilities, and it sucked my ass. I literally fell. I had such a crazy connection to her psychically, and I'm going to talk about that too. Don't think I forgot that. I'm not. I will be speaking on premonition soon. Trust me. That kind of shit is stuff that I started praying about. I was like, Lord, don't do that to me ever again. I don't care. I don't need to know that someone is drunk off their ass and fucking falling in the shower. Like, I don't need that. That's not a gift. You're gonna fucking kill me one day. So, there's that too, right? So that's definitely empathic. And it's physical, right? And it's also part of the clairsentience too. It's really a little bizarre because here you are thinking shit in your head, you're hearing stuff, you're doing stuff, it's crazy. So intuition, number 1 for me, or psychic abilities, is when you just do something and you're not even planning it, you're not thinking it, you know what I mean? I feel like you got to pay attention to what you do, not what you think most of the time, because what we think can be altered by our ego, which throws out emotions into the mix, right? So number 3, the car, who's driving? You're kind of tuning out, but you're on the road, you can see the lights, you know what you're doing, but yet you're hearing things. And what I mean by hearing things is like on the right side of your head, thoughts come in. It's not like some big boom, it's just something that pops in and you think it's like coming from this side. I'm on my right side, by the way, not the left. So the car, that's number 3. And signs come in through the radio in the car, and that's a totally different show I'm going to be doing on signs and synchronicities and shit. But when you're in the car and you get the information yourself, it doesn't come from the radio. That's totally different. It's a whole new ball of wax over here. That energy is where you're going to get hit the most. So the toilet, the shower, the car, doing the dishes. Not that everybody does dishes, but if you're just standing there and you're focused on anything like doing dishes, right? Or focusing on nature, if you're outdoors, I don't care what you're focused on, but it has nothing to do with life or the topic that comes through. Boom. Synchronicities is going to be a good show. Anyway, and then your dreams is final, okay? These are the top ways, not all the ways. So the toilet, number 1. And I'm not kidding you. Everybody gets shit on the toilet. And the shower, the car, dishes, or just standing stationary, focused on one thing. It, like, especially if you're artistic, you like to color, draw, do whatever, like, paint, whatever. And then your dreams. Now your dreams, that's a whole new ball of wax as well. So with your dreams, not everybody remembers them, but if you do, a lot of times there's going to be, premonitions that come through in your dreams. And then on the flip side, it's psychological. So again, blurring the lines between psychic and psychological, or psychic and psycho, right? So, cooking. If you're in the kitchen cooking too with the dishes and all that, same thing. And if you're focused on something that's completely opposite of anything that would affect you psychically or psychologically. When we say we're being affected psychically, it's energetically, meaning that your physical feeling of your body, empathic, right, changes, shifts. It's either going to shift to a higher vibration, which is lighter, or a lower vibration, which is more tense. Okay, does that help? So when we are shifting vibrationally, we go Psycho means that we're lower vibration and we're panicked and our ego is controlling our thoughts and our physical bodies, right? When you're in the zone and things, I just happen to notice that when you're in the zone and things kind of raise up, it does not mean that, you're like all knowing, because psychic is not all knowing. Okay, it's bits and pieces that come through to our brain, gets interpreted, and we see it with our mind's eye, which actually is interpreted as our actual eyes, or is the knowledge in our brain, right? Your dreams can do both. It can clear out your psyche. So when you start dreaming about shit from the past, most often it's not about the past coming back as in a prophetic dream. It's about you clearing out the shit to remove it. So people ask all the time, hey, I had a dream about my ex. What does this mean? Usually it means see you later. Like you're dreaming about somebody that affected you, but they're not coming back. Especially if there was closure there. If there's no closure, you're going to dream more about that person because your brain is trying to interpret what the fuck happened. Not, it's not a manifestation tool. Listen, number 3, important. It's not a manifestation tool to bring someone back from the past, okay? Oh, let me just say, like one of those fraud alerts. If you go to any psychic sites where they have a list of psychics and they say, I can reunite lovers, please do not call them, ever. Because that's impossible. Nobody can reunite you with anybody except for you and that other person. Got it? Get it. Okay. So your dreams will bring up old issues from the past to clear them out, not to bring the person back. Once in a while, you will get an amazing psychic dream that someone from the past is coming back, and they do. It does not happen often, but they do happen. Now the difference is you don't know it at the time. If you remember the dream, write it down, throw the notes away, put them somewhere else. But if you have a dream about something and it comes true, you will remember that. Okay, we're back. I have no idea what's going on with the feed. It's so crazy. So, okay, anyway, who am I reading? Lana Ray's, yeah. Anyway, what I was saying is in terms of getting dreams that occur, that's the only time you know. Because at the time that you get the dream, what you're gonna get are bits and pieces of information. Some of it may be clearing away the old energy. Some may be bringing you, into the future. Some of you are gonna get dreams about stuff that literally means absolutely nothing in the future. So I would not actually rely on your dreams as much as your actual waking intuition. I think the waking intuition is going to be, believe it or not, more accurate. Now, some people are just like dream state only. If you're one of those people, that's your gift, right? You know what I'm saying? Oh, Lana, I don't take offense at all. I actually wanted to acknowledge your comment because it's true. Like I said that, but it's absolutely true. So I wanted to clear that out for my people because I don't want them relying on like, oh, I had a dream about Dan from the past and Dan doesn't come back, right? So then they're holding on to Dan because they had a dream about Dan. I would say always let go of the dreams, that you get, because it, you can't prove that it's going to come true, right? You don't know. But if it does, awesome. So let's go ahead. People are talking about this. I wrote it down separately, deja vu. That's more of like past life stuff for me. I tend to see deja vu as you feel like you've already lived this scenario before. That's the easiest way to describe it. You feel like you've heard this conversation before. You feel like, okay, so here's 2 things. Either one, it was a past life thing and you did relive it and you did not in this lifetime. So it's a cell memory in your spirit that is recalling that event, that person, that vibe from the person, the name of the person, or the scenario you're in. Or, and this is something I wanted to talk about because this happens to me every day, every fucking day. It's not deja vu to me anymore. I literally can hear a conversation in my head between me and another person, or between 2 other people that are not related to me at all. For example, psychics on YouTube. All the time, I go about my business, go about my day, I do whatever, and then I get these, conversations in my head. I push them aside. Next thing you know, there's a fucking video with someone saying the same exact thing, exactly worded the way I heard it. It's like deja vu, except, well, I know as a psychic, it's psychic because this is what I do. This is who I am. Other people who aren't used to this, it's going to feel like, oh, is this like deja vu? For some of you, no. You're just being psychic. You can predict what they're going to say. Here's an example of this. I had someone, she ended up being a false friend, which is fine, but she had said something to me. And I actually, 2 days prior, had a thought in my head, it was like real brief, that she was going to say something like that. I literally heard her in my head saying those words to me. 2 days later, she says it. I'm like, so that brings me to my next topic. This is so, so important, right? How do you know when you have a psychic connection to another human being? A soul tie versus just being psychic about that person. So we'll start with that because that is where a lot of people come to me. That's why a lot of people come to me, because they want to know that, right? They believe they have a soulmate connection to someone because maybe you're thinking the same thing at the same time. It happens a few times. Sometimes it happens all the time. That's absolutely, well, let me reword that. I got to make sure I word this right so I don't piss off everybody. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not true. You can't prove a soulmate connection or a soul tie, right? You could possibly, I don't know, I'll grab a deck, right? You can possibly get tarot cards too, or a pendulum, which I happen to have. Where's my bag? Fucking lost my bag. Anyway, I have a pendulum too. I'm going to start using divination tools live on here to show you guys what they're about. But anyway, you can use tarot to kind of confirm or deny a soul contract with certain cards will come up. You know, the Hierophant will come up, the High Priestess will come up separately or together, especially together. You can also get the Two of Cups, which does not have to be romantically based, but those 3 cards definitely represent a soul tie, right? Very, very important for some people. Oracle cards, it just depends on what you want to use, right? So here's the thing. If you are thinking the same thing as someone else, and let's say you're married to them, like I've been married 9 years, my husband and I will think the same thing at the same time a lot, but my gut says he's not my soulmate. Nobody panic. I'm married to someone who's not my fucking soulmate at all. Like I do not feel that I have like one of those amazing spiritual ties to this other human, right? At all. He knows this. This is not news, right? Like this is, you know, I told him this a long time ago. But this is one of those things where you know the difference between, you know, a connection on a spiritual plane versus like a practical one. And there's nothing wrong with practical connections. All connections have issues, always, because you're 2 different people no matter what. And sometimes you're in sync because you've been living together for fucking ever. Yeah, we've been in this same fucking life forever and ever and ever. So we're going to be kind of on the same level. We're going to think the same shit because we do the same shit every goddamn day. It's boring as fuck. We both agree on that. And then we're both going to think the same thing. Or we understand each other well enough. And I will get into all that in a minute. Who are you, Desiree? I will get into that in a minute. So when you're with someone like that, and it's like every fucking day, all day, you're talking, there's no fucking space yet, chances are you're going to be in sync, right? He's an atheist. I am definitely not. So we are totally like different, but we're practical connection, right? He has a soul tie to me though, because we have children together. He has a purpose. I have a purpose. God knows what the hell that is, other than birthing. But, you know, there's some sort of soul tie there. Now, you can be with a girlfriend, a platonic friend, no matter who you are, and you're sitting together and you hardly know each other, let's say. And then you're just like thinking the same thing at the same time all the time. It could be situational where spirit, God, universe puts you with this person because spiritually you're in sync, because you do have a psychic bond, whether it lasts or not does not matter. So you have that psychic tie. Then there are the people like me, because I do this for a living. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've been psychic my entire life. I've been fucking with this stuff forever, that I will be psychic for you and we have no connection. Zero connection. So that leads me to psychic readings. For example, when I do the general readings that I've told people over and over again, I don't connect to you. I connect to source. They connect to me for you. Like I'm here for you. I'm like your little servant, so to speak. I'm your, whatever you want, middleman. That's why they call them mediums, like in the mid range there. So I collect the information, I get it to you. Does not mean you and I personally have a connection. Like we are not necessarily meant to be around each other, right? I'm over here in the Midwest, you're somewhere in the world, and this is our connection, right? So some people make the mistake of getting a private reading from me thinking you and I personally have a connection. We do not. We do not most of the time. Once in a while, I have a connection to someone, and most of the time, I would say it fizzles, right? Like I'll have a temporary psychic connection to someone, spiritually, personally, and boom, it's done. Some people have long-term ones. It just depends. The difference is you can see shit for other people psychically, whether you're professional or not, right? The spiritual butler, you're the best. And we don't get paid enough for that shit, trust me. Like the ass wiping that comes along with being a spiritual butler sucks. And getting used sucks. Okay? And someone mentioned it earlier, being an empath attracts narcissists. Yes, and that's a totally different show, and I already have something lined up for you guys on that. That's insane. But you can predict shit for people that are like your friends, your acquaintances, whatever, but you don't have like a lifelong contract to them. You might have a temporary one. You could have one for the moment. And so that leads me to, I want to talk about the difference between your imagination, which we kind of covered earlier, like it was just my imagination. That is your ego. That is the one that has the emotions attached, okay? So your imagination has feelings. Your intuition, no fucking feelings. It's just, here's some news. It's almost like getting news about someone you've never met. You can be empathetic toward that person, but you don't give a fuck, right? But it's still real information that will come true for that person or for yourself. Does that make sense? So just remember, don't give a fuck versus giving way too many fuckity fucks. Too many fucks versus no fucks. Stability comes with no fucks. You know what I'm saying? If that helps, right? Okay, so let me see what I missed. Don't forget, the top intuitive hit places, the places where you're going to get smacked is the toilet, the shower, the car, doing dishes or something that's stationary, totally unrelated to whatever's going on in your head, and maybe your dreams, depending on who you are, right? Okay. So ways to convert this energy, and what are we supposed to do with it? Like, so when you finally have established and believe that you're getting an intuitive hit, there's that knowing. Remember, it's like you just know. And when someone mentioned earlier, and I want to bring this into the conversation about that nagging vibe that won't go away, as long as if it's nagging, it's important, but don't take it to the level of fear, right? Like if you want to control your intuition, you want to control the vibe, you need to mentally tell yourself this is fucking fine. Always tell yourself you're not crazy, this is fucking fine. People talk about the gut. Who are you? Desiree again. We talk about our gut instincts, same shit. It really is. When people say gut instincts, it's usually people that don't want to use the word psychic. So fine. Gut instincts, intuition. It's not mother's intuition, it's just fucking intuition. Mommies don't have stronger intuition than daddies. You know what I mean? You know, it's people who care about their own instincts. And obviously you want to listen to them, because the first thing that you're going to do when you don't listen is go, motherfucker, look at what just happened. I totally knew this was coming and I ignored it. You know, I ignored it. That's why narcissists get in there, because people want to be logical about shit. You know what I'm saying? They do not want to be like the super psychic or the psycho. You know what I mean? Sensitive and intuitive and psychic's the same fucking shit. Don't quote that. Sensitive is more the term for empathic, but it's still psychic, and I don't want you downplaying greatness. Being psychic and being able to predict the future, a lot of people can do that. This is not special. It's special when you do it all the time, and it's special when you do something good with it, not something negative, which, you know. And so I feel like everybody has the ability, this is why I'm having this conversation with you guys, everybody has the ability to take that information that's being handed to them on a silver platter and fucking use it for the good of themselves to level up. Listen to me. You are allowed to use psychic abilities to level up, okay? Fucking level up with that shit. I do it all the time. And you can use it to give to other people, and that is not necessarily sacrificing yourself. It's just, here's your information, motherfucker. That's where I want to talk, what I want to talk about next. We want to go into what do you do once you've established all of this is for real, right? You got to leave it, and then we got to choose whether or not to share the information. So let's make a joke here about the reality TV shows and the psychics that go out there and approach random strangers. It's okay to do that if that's your thing. If you're not afraid of getting nailed, slapped, spat at or yelled at or whatever, yeah, I don't do that. I won't do that. No. So if I see that someone has got like a dirty aura, I'm gonna be like, fuck you, and go this way. Why? Because I'm empathic. I don't want your shit around me. If I see that a death is gonna occur with someone, that's not my place to just go up and say, hey dude, your grandma's dying. I'm sure God will help them out. You know what I mean? If I'm led to tell someone something, it's usually in a situation where I can't control it. I'm having a conversation with someone. Listen carefully. This is still psychic. You are still doing this too. Everybody does it. You have a conversation with someone, you say some shit and they're like, holy fuck, how would you know that? And you're like, I don't know. I'm just having a conversation with you. That is God, universe, spirit, your higher self, your just amazing abilities doing the work. You're just doing the work. You're not being an asshole. You're not like going out of your way to like freak people out. You know what I mean? I'm not going to judge those who are doing the reality shows and like approaching strangers and shit. Like if that's their thing to get attention, go for it. That's your thing. Those are controlled environments though. Those are controlled environments. Nobody just does that. They don't. Those are controlled environments, right? But when you are actually communicating with someone and shit comes out and you're like, how the fuck did you know that shit? That's natural and that's okay. But that is what I'm saying to you. If you are meant to tell someone something, it will come out no matter what, I'm just saying. So anyway, let me see what else is going on here. What else do I need to talk to you guys about? So I try not to judge that, but I have an opinion of it. I'm like, no, that's unethical to me as a psychic, because I do truly believe that what I do, because I do it for a living as well as for free, there's a fucking line there, man. You got to be careful what you do. So in terms of what do we do once we get the hit for yourself, let's talk about ourselves again. There's pros and cons. Okay, so the pro would be basically you can use it to level up. You can use it to help someone else when you're giving your friend advice or whatever. You can use all that. Whether they take it or not is totally and completely up to them, okay? And if you want to give people tips, it's best to come through as like a normal person, a normal conversation. I tend to approach my readings that way. Hey, let's look at shit. Fine. If you're calling me for a tarot card reading, it's different than a psychic reading without divination tools. I just generally use my clairaudience, which I'll get into in a minute. Hearing spirit guides, getting information, just knowing the answer to their questions. We can do that. You can use tools. You can make your life totally better if you just believe in your own thoughts. Everybody second guesses shit once in a while. I do it all the fucking time. However, in the last few years, I've been like, no more of that shit. I am absolutely just going to trust everything, even if it sounds crazy. Generally, it's not. So, you know how you watch me daily and I do these insane readings, right? Believe it or not, 90% of those scenarios come back to me in private calls. At least 90%, right? If you're wrong, let me talk to you. If you're wrong, then you're not getting psychic information, it's opinion. There's a difference between having your psychic energy versus an opinion. I'm giving you a lot of both, right? So I'm telling you the difference between my opinion and then what, energy is, right? So if it's negative, if there's a con to doing something with the information you get, A, you're going to annoy people. B, you're not going to have any self-confidence, right? And then you could be embarrassed, like, put yourself out there in an embarrassing way. And then you might think you're stupid or you're afraid of sounding dumb. So like you collect fear. That's the only con in having to decide, hey, what am I going to do with this information? So it's important, like when it comes to deciding what to do, that you're being, when we say called, like your intuition or your physical body, and not so much your head, your body leads you to do something without thinking, right? Fear is ego. Fear does not count as intuitive. Zero. You know what I mean? So that's the only con, is the fear-based energy around it. But like I said, if you're supposed to do something, you will just do it without even thinking. And that is absolutely psychic, intuitive, being led, being called without even realizing it. That is the number one way people, all people, interact with one another in a psychic way, okay? Guess what? I got more shit. And then I'm going to do questions and answers real quick. So I feel like we're always connecting to source, and then there's a difference between understanding that you're connecting to source like 24/7, and then of course there's the idea of you just making shit up in your head. Basically, there's the wishful thinking, again, has emotions, like anticipation is the word I want to use. So there's a difference between psychic information and the wishful thinking, the anticipation, right? Listen to me, it's Mercury retrograde. No digital. I am old school bitch, right? Like, I got notes. And then I'm just going to throw the notes away. And so my thing is this. As long as there are no like egotistical, anticipating type outcomes, then that is going to be most likely intuition. The thing is, you can get confused by the dream state too. It's like, oh God, is this real? Is it not real? Who gives a fuck is what I'm going to say. Write it down and let it go. Always, always, always accept the information and then let it go. If you're led to do something, you will. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. I want to do the Q&A with regards to where are you getting your intuitive hit. So start talking to me, and I'm going to go through some of these comments, and then we're going to cover some of these questions. Overthinking with ego. I just covered that a lot. That's pretty much like the foundation. Jillian, right? No, before Jillian. Super angry. Okay, super angry, honey. So if you're confused, it's not intuition. It's always about clarity. Ace of Swords, right? It's never about being confused. So you're never confused when it's real. Cat in a box. So here's the thing. When people go through trauma, they tend to open up. Like the light bulb fucking comes on. A lot of them become mediums without trying to be. If you had like a near-death experience or, anything like, me like falling in the fucking shower and thinking I'm going to die. Psychic abilities can be developed, but I feel like, let's go there. Let's go there. Everybody's got some sort of intuition. Like we have a foundation, every single person. Some listen to it, some don't. Children are natural intuitives till the age of 12, 13, and then they get totally tainted by society, and then they get like, insecure and ego and all that stuff. They become young adults, and that's when we all fuck it up, right? So can you develop psychic abilities on your own? Yes. Do you need someone to teach you how to be psychic? No. I'm not teaching you how to be psychic. I'm teaching you how to determine if what you're getting is a psychic piece of information or just yourself. Because I don't believe that you can just, one day I'm psychic. It's one day you realized that you've been psychic all along, and now you're paying attention to that shit. So if you get into a car accident and all of a sudden your whole world is different because of perspective, there's no veil. You see what I mean? There's no more veil in front of your face. That's what it is. You're not becoming something you never were, ever, okay? So keep that in mind. Some people are like, oh, it's a phenomenon. I'm all of a sudden I can predict the future. No, you just are now open to predicting the future. So let me go back to some of these questions. How do you know when you made the right choice when you're angry or hurt? You are not making the right choice when you're angry or hurt. You're making a choice. It's not right or wrong. So if you're angry or hurt, that's your ego. That's not psychic ever. It's a choice. It doesn't mean it will end badly though. So like you could be angry or hurt and make a choice, and guess what? Down the line, it turns out it was in your best interest. So do not discount being angry and saying that you're going to fuck up your world, but it does not mean you're getting information at that moment that is 100% just intuitive. That is ego based. Okay. Let me go back to some of you guys. So Danielle L. Okay, it says, what about getting messages that there is no emotions attached to it? Okay, it's more like this when you need to know to prepare yourself, rejuvenate. Also happens, people call text. Okay, I already covered like when you know someone's going to do something. I didn't go into the call and the texting or whatever. If you just get this thought in your head, Joe's going to call me, and they call, that's awesome, that's psychic. Like you're on the wavelength, you know the call's coming in. Electronics has a tendency to connect with our brains quicker. I don't know why. And then I forgot the other part of the question. I totally missed you, girl. Oh, there you are. You will always get information from. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry about that. It's been going okay so far. I got to go back to the question. All right. Okay, there she is. So being prepared for the future, how do I explain this? When you get any information that will lead you to the next step, which would be clairvoyant visual of the future, or, you know, making or any kind of a mini prophecy for yourself, all it really is information coming at you, and spiritually you know it's coming, so your body's already prepared, and when the event happens, it just won't affect you in a negative way like it would if you were unaware, okay? So if you're being made aware of something, it's because you're meant to know it's coming. If you're not going to be aware of something, you're not meant to know because it's a life lesson. It could be karmic, not a negative karma, but karmic, where you've had a past life thing you had to resolve, you know? So that's fine. Someone else had a good question right after you. Let me go back. People that, Bria, right? Is it Bria? Hold on. Let me go back here. Why do you think, okay, let me go to Parsnick Burger. What makes you think you're not psychic? You know, like some people don't know if they are or aren't, but some people think they're not, but they are. So I'm saying, do you know for a fact you're not psychic? Just because we use tarot cards does not mean you're psychic. But I'm saying, when you use divination tools, you naturally open up to that world. So you may be psychic and not realize it, is what I'm telling you, because there's all these different things that we do without thinking that's technically psychic. So if you're being led to divination tools, that's actually psychic. You may not be consistently making predictions for yourself or for other people though. There's a little bit, you're just not utilizing the ability. Okay, someone asked a question about, can I sense when things are fated? Everything's fated. Get that through your head. Everything is fated. If it happens, it's fated. If it doesn't happen, that's fated. You know what I mean? If you want something to happen and it doesn't, that's fate. Fate is destiny. Destiny is already created. Sometimes it's preordained. Sometimes it's created through free will. Sometimes it's created through karma. Karma is past life stuff. If you believe in that, you don't have to and still be psychic. It is YouTube. I'm so sorry. It's not me at all. Let me go back to some of these other questions I'm missing. My own well-wisher, thank you. It's true. It's true. You are making a choice. Choices aren't always bad. Okay. Ooh, the one thing I forgot to tell you, signs. Let's talk about signs of getting intuitive hits. The chills, dizziness, anything that alters your body in any way that's like obvious. Ears ringing in the ears, not like from a circumstance like being on a plane or, you know, in like a confined environment, but like random stuff like that. Okay, I wrote it down. Hold up. I forgot I wrote down everything. The chills and all that stuff is number one for me. Goosebumps. Everybody gets that sometimes. Oh, my nose itching. I had someone that was like trying to be all scientific today on YouTube about why my nose itches. No, technically, I did not get that until like a year ago. All of a sudden, you know, when I started going live, because I never had that, I always had the chills, and I was like, okay, anytime I would tell a client something and I get the chills, I'm like, right on, sister, you know. But then like over a year ago when I started going live, and I started on Facebook Live first, it was absolutely ridiculous. It was like, and I remember doing a Gemini reading. This is so important. I remember doing a Gemini reading and I felt like someone was doing coke. And that's when it started, and it never went away. Like it always comes back when I'm like, oh my God, I'm saying something that's right. I'm trying to get rid of that. This is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Everybody's got different things, but like the chills is very common with people. You know, it comes out of nowhere and it leaves real quickly. It's like, you know, getting shocked or the ear thing or whatever, you know. When it just like, especially your right side of your head, it's awful. There's some things that's like fucking awful. Yes. Are decisions made in haste generally the right decision? Not necessarily made in haste. Generally, when we talk about things being done in haste is like, you know, like a knee-jerk reaction. I'm talking about the stuff you do without knowing it. Like knee-jerk reactions sometimes are ego-driven. So if there's no ego, aka emotions of any kind, even positive emotions, then, you know, but in haste versus like knee-jerk, I don't know, there's a line there. So I guess it depends, but I always say if you just do it without thinking, you were meant to do it. You know what I also say, if it comes out of my mouth, it's meant to be said, no filter. No filter to a degree. So the information I won't filter, hopefully my delivery isn't like horrible. You know, I try my best to not be a total dick, but I am a dick. So, you know, Freudian slips, psychic. Okay, let's go back to some of these questions that are on topic here. Michelle Fisher, you probably won't now. I do believe we can set a law and order with our psychic abilities, our intuition. And I always say, like, if you believe you can communicate with your spirit guides, with your higher power, you can literally say, I don't want this ability. I don't want that ability. I don't want to know what someone's feeling. I don't, you know. Palm reading is just another way of reading. It's like, it's not a tool. Palms are not tools. Palms are part of people. Okay. What's the difference between ringing in the right ear and left ear? I was told the left ear is receiving. For me, I've heard it most commonly, it's spirit guides in the right ear. The left ear is either your higher self or just receiving information in general. But you're receiving in both ears, basically. It just depends on how you connect. Most people tend, I don't know why, over the years that's what it's been, is on the right side. It's not evil on the left, just so you know. I'm going through questions. Does random songs coming in your head mean anything? Yes. So today I did the Virgo reading for YouTube for the week, and a song came in my head at the time, and then I was like really pissed because I couldn't remember it. And when I looked up the lyrics after the reading was conducted, so now I got to go back and put it in there and go, oh my God, you know, it did mean exactly, it like confirmed the reading. So yes, when you get random songs popping into your head, look up the lyrics. It may not be the whole song or the whole theme of the song, just like a line. You know, I get it for clients all the time. Myself, all the time, general readings as well. Okay. Blair H. So for me personally, when it's clairaudient, which is the ability to hear things from universe, from spirit guides and stuff, at one point it was like weird voices when I was really young, and I remember saying a prayer saying, God, for God's sake, like stop this shit. So now it sounds like my own voice, like my own thought. I changed that. It was just, I now block out like any weird, like anything that looks fucked up, I don't do, I don't deal with it. It has to sound like my own voice, my own thought, so that I am in control. Again, I said this earlier, some of these questions, you guys can rewatch it. If you just joined us now, you can rewatch it. I did cover it, but it's really interesting because we don't want to sound crazy. We don't want to feel crazy. It sucks. You know what I mean? Sleep paralysis most of the time, unless it's paranormal, which is different than what I'm talking about tonight, I would say is psychological. I don't feel it's psychic unless it's paranormal and you're seeing fucking ghosts in there, and then your body just like reacts to that. And I am so sorry if you have to deal with that. I don't, believe that's intuitive or psychic. It's more like, something else. It's something else. Astral projection, something totally different, and we will get into that another time. I'm so sorry. Okay, so the dead mediumship and all that is also going to be on another live show. And just so you guys know what I'm going to start doing from now on, those of you who are subscribed to this channel, Veronica Rae, I do Tidbit Tuesday now. Generally, the Tidbit Tuesday and the lives on Saturday nights will coincide. I did not do it this week, but I wanted to cover the intuition. So let's go back over stuff. Someone asked about deja vu again. We did cover that, but I'm going to let you know that's still a huge thing. That is very psychic energy. It's like you've either experienced this before in a past life, or in a current life you had a prediction or a projection that what is happening at that moment was going to happen and you didn't know it. Okay, deja vu is not like this thing that just happens to you. Everything happens for a reason. Even when we get into the negativity of people and how they use their abilities, which is going to be another show as well. Okay, precognition's the same thing as a premonition. Same thing. It's just worded differently. You can like anything with the word pre, or a PRE, premonition, precognition, all those things is prior to. It's projection even. You're able to project. Okay, you don't get deja vu. What you're getting is psychic impressions, and you're getting the result of those previous impressions. Synchronicities is another show. Okay, you're welcome. All right, let me see. Let me go back. Ah, no. Sorry. Got the wall for a second. Spiritual healing will be a different show, okay? Okay, crossing over mediumship will be another thing totally. Okay. Oh, by the way, when people ask the question, if you're seeing negative things and you don't want to, can you set that law and order? The answer is yes. Can we control all of it? No. If you're meant to get a message, you'll get it. Okay? So, going back, we have spirit guides, angels, and other worldly entities will be another show, but that is also ways that we get information that is communicated to us for future tense purposes. And so everybody has the ability to get the information. Not everybody has, I guess, the ability to recognize it. So today, the most important thing I want to convey to you guys is if you get a thought in your head, or if you do something, do not second guess it. And I mean that in terms of you're not like thinking about negative things to do to someone, and you know what I mean? You're not orchestrating anything. If it's just a natural, like neutral energy and things that you're doing without thinking, most likely it's intuitive, okay? And I'm not talking about those who are like shooting up the postal service or anything crazy like that. Let me be very clear. I'm not talking about they told me to do it and it's like killing people. That is not it. That is a problem. That is psychological. That is someone that is telling themselves it's okay to do what they're doing. This is not what we're talking about today. I probably should have said that right off the bat, okay? Let's be clear, most of us have common sense. While watching this, you know. All right, anyway, so let's go back. Ego is the #1 killer of intuition. Ego. Ego can even be positive, so like wishful thinking or like hoping and praying for an outcome. You should never do that. You should never care about the outcome. Why? Because then you're stepping in the way of your own intuition, your own free will, and the free will of the universe, right? Okay? Believe what you're getting, and then what do you do with it? If you choose to sit on intuition, I guess it depends on the person. So I always kick myself. I'm like, God damn it, I did it again. Damn it, why do I have to be a person? You know what I mean? Ooh, who are you? Tamizy? Baby, that is right. You got it right. Totally. You know? Hey, so anyway, that's pretty much it. I'm still trying to go through questions. When you do things on autopilot, is that spirit? No, not necessarily. Any choice that's made is made by you. Spirit guides us. They don't get in the way of free will. So it's impossible for an otherworldly entity to make decisions for us. If you're on autopilot and you make a choice, you're on a path that's staying the same is how I interpret that. And then you make the decision. Do not take free will out of this and say, oh, it was the universe. No, it's you. It's you. Okay, let me tell you something. The sliding glass door thing, don't know. That is not bringing true for me right now as psychic, okay? That is not psychic. So I'm only talking about the basics of intuition and all that. If that's like paranormal, that could be totally different. But it has nothing to do with what we're discussing. Sorry, sweetie. Law of attraction, totally different. Okay. So what you do with your intuition, do you open up? That's up to you. It's all free will. So if you decide to share your information, my suggestion would be to be as normal as fucking possible. Do not be like, hey, Joe Blow down the street with their pants down to their ankles, your grandma's dying on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. You know? Doorbell sounds is not a premonition. That's usually going to be spirit communications, as far as I can tell. If that happened to you as a premonition, great. But for the most part, when we hear things like that in our head, knocks on the door, stuff like that, it's about waking up. Wake up, get your attention. You know, be open. Opening up of your energy, of your aura. Okay, someone asked about the physical effects that can happen to you after working with people's energy. That's a different topic, but quickly I can cover that. Like there's many different effects. Like you could literally become that other person that's empathic energy. You know, that's you doing the sponge thing that we talked about at the beginning of tonight's session. Okay, so what I'm going to do is quickly go through more questions. I will let you guys go. There will be most likely, if I can do it every Saturday, I will be on here doing this every Saturday, okay? Okay, let me go through and I'm not sure why questions need to be asked on other topics. You're right, so I'm avoiding them, sorry. The butterflies in the stomach and the sick feeling before something happens, that's how you are specifically reacting to the energy that's transforming for the future tense. So it's not necessarily negative to have that like weird butterfly feeling. That's just your physical body is reacting to psychic energy or in your intuition or just like knowing that something's coming. Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it feels worse than it is. So it depends on how you choose to interpret those feelings. physically, like I said, you know, I gave that story about how I fell over in the damn shower. I'll never forget it. That'll be the go-to story. You know, it feels bad, but it turns out it wasn't even me, it was someone else, but I did kind of react. So you can control like what your brain interprets as good or bad, okay? But that is definitely just like, it's like this, it's the equivalent to when you almost hit someone in the car, but you miss it. It's like that. And that's still fine. You know, it can be psychic. We did cover the whole thinking of someone and they text and call. That's just psychic. It's like you're on the same playing field, okay? Oh, Roxanne Ridge. I like it. It says, so I take it you get a lot of people that think they are psychics. That's what I hated about Facebook empath groups. Yes. Okay, so I shouldn't say it that way. I should say, because I do believe that everybody has abilities. But I don't believe everybody is meant to do it for a living or meant to make predictions for people. You know, everybody's different, right? I get a lot of people who think it sounds cool and they're like, I do what you do. And I'm like, First thought, people that really have those abilities don't just like go out and brag about them. You know what I mean? They don't just walk around going, look at me, you know. This is something that most of us have had to hide and not be public about because of judgment. So the braggy, that's like, I always blow those people off. I know it sounds mean. I'm not saying I'm like God or anything, but it's like, come on, really? In any field, like you get a singer who's mediocre compared to like 50 other people, and they're like, look at how fucking great I am. I got on American Idol for 2 seconds. Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? It's like that. It's like that. I try not to judge. Now, I have had genuinely crazy people who literally come to me with some wild shit. My husband gets emails too now. Like, it's amazing. It really is. It's true. M. Ellis. So, like I said, most of us, the real deals, it takes a lot of balls to like go out there. Like me putting myself out there. Like I had a channel many years ago and I never followed. I had a vlog channel just like I'm doing here, but I didn't follow through with it out of fear. You know, I had my son up on there. It was on my old website before I created Intuitive Pathways, and I chicken shitted myself right out the door. Like I could not follow through because I was terrified of being judged and worried that I would ruin my stepdaughter's lives, you know, that people would eventually recognize what I do and then, you know, criticize them. And now I just said, fuck it. Now I'm like, fuck everything and fuck everybody and whoever I meant to attract in a good way, because I will attract the negative. I always have and I always will, but we all do. But I'm just saying, you know, it's better to not be closeted, but at the same time, it's just, you know, the braggy ones, I always ignore that shit. Oh my God, it's awful. It's okay to have like reality shows and stuff. It's, you know, it's fine. Like everybody has different ways of connecting. I'm just saying those are a little bit controlled, you know what I mean? So, but whatever, however you want to connect with people, writing books, you know, creating your own cards, doing whatever you need to do, whatever platform you need to do, you know. I did already cover premonitions and dreams. You can rewatch this broadcast, okay? Okay, and the last thing I'm going to answer and then we'll move on, and I'm going to go over to Facebook for a few minutes, is someone asked if it can be passed down. I don't know how to answer that. My mom is incredibly psychic, and I am incredibly psychic. My son Angelo is psychic. But I don't know if it's like a genetic thing or not. I don't even know if that's possible. Because I don't think it's genetic. I feel like it is preordained. Like I was meant to have my son, right? My mom was meant to have me. All of this was meant to be, right? So I feel like we're part of the same soul family. So for example, I believe my son and I are soulmates to a degree. Like, I kind of believe that. He's my mini me. Oddly enough, I grew up to be my mom's mini me, but I don't know if it's like behavioral or what, but I believe it's a spiritual tie, not a genetic tie. I don't believe it's genetically inclined to have your whole family be psychic. I think it's just, we're different souls, we're different people, and we were brought together in this lifetime, and we all happen to be. My mom is very Catholic, Irish Catholic, and I believe that's, part of the reason why she drank so much. Because when you're on download overload, like, it's nuts. Like I said, there's that line between psychic and psycho, right? I love my mom. And for the record, she's a fucking mid-month June Gemini. She's fun. So she's totally supportive of me. She knows she's psychic, but and when I bring it up and say, hey mom, you're psychic. Oh, no. Yeah, you are, bitch. Shut up. That is it. You know what I mean? So, so there's that. So yeah, I think it's spiritual. I feel like it's like the destiny of different souls coming together to be an actual real family. And then we have something to offer the world in our own way. My son's totally different than me. He's a fucking Leo too, by the way. I'm an Aquarius. He's a fucking Leo. And then Anthony's a Taurus. I'm just saying, it's like my destiny. You know what I mean? My son is a double Leo too. He's not just a Leo, he's a fucking double ass Leo. And then Anthony is Taurus Virgo rising. Oh my God. I am so screwed, people. You want to talk about like contracts? Fuck. Anyway. So, I love my Leo. He is my baby. He is, for the longest time, was my only reason for existing on this earth aside from being psychic. Love that boy to pieces. Thank you for showing up today. I hope you learned something. I tried to get as much out as I could. It's so hard to do. I mean, it's like I'm way over. I have so much more. And in the future, it's not going to just be me on here. So, I mean, there's so much going on. And we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about for the future. You know what I mean? You guys are awesome. He's a Leo male too. It's like, oh shit. Son of a. He's so sweet and polite right now, but he's also like really critical. He's like, when he's right, motherfucker, he will tell me off and be like, no, it's this. I'm like, fuck. And I created him. He's mine. Son of a. All right. I'm married to a Cancer. My best friend's a Cancer. They're fun too. My son Angelo does not have Capricorn. Well, he has it down the line, but not in the sun, moon, rising. He's fun. Okay. I know. Feel sorry for me. Not really. It's probably my own doing in another lifetime. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You guys are amazing for putting up with like the weird YouTube vibes over here today. I appreciate you very, very much. And I will see you guys next Saturday night for another live, but I'm going over to Facebook for a quickie. One of those real quick readings for fun, Yes, I'm Aries moon, and that is the emotions. That's the, fun side of life. Aw, thank you. I'll take the verbal purple heart. Awesome. All right, facebook.com/intuitivepathwaysnet. Go over there. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel tonight here at Veronica Rae. I have Tuesday tidbits coming out. We have a vlog coming